I'm very interested in Mtume's arguments around the creation of third cinema and the creation of new audiences. Ah, my man.
What up?
Speak of the not the devil, but speak of the heroic African.
Sorry, I'm on the street. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, everything, you sound good. What's up, my man?
Good. I got a quick like 10, 15, so I could talk real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see all of the live, so forgive me if I repeat anything or anything. But yeah, I can share thoughts.
Please, no, and any
If they
repetition is going to
dovetail.
be good. Yeah, it's going. It'll be good.
Yeah,
What,
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Oh, I missed your text. I see you. My bad. You texted me. What's up?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, say what you got. You use your time as you want.
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's a way with Boots that I feel like there's two conversations that are definitely connected. But I think there's two conversations with him. One is the actual material, how the movie is produced, and what is produced. And of course, yes, they are connected, but I think sometimes separating them out to then show like the kind of tentacles of how they kind of like, co-constitute each other, I think is really important. And they also, to me, show really kind of, honestly, I just think it exposes the entire project he's been working on, to be honest with you. So I'll start with the movie, and then I'll probably go to like the production, partly because I don't have notes with me. So like I'm kind of going off of my memory of the movie. And yeah, like the thing with Boosters is I go straight to the political. Like it's an economism argument. Right? It's, if you think about like Lenin's What Is to Be Done, right? And when he argues against trade unionism and trade union economism politics, Bush is just making an economism argument. And it's funny because someone said this to me, and I won't say their name because I don't know if they want to get like dragged in the mud of talking about Boots. So I'm just not going to say it. They said it to me about Sorry to Bother You, which I did not particularly care for as a film personally. But so I didn't really do an analysis of it. So, but he said, yeah, that's in Sorry to Bother You also. And I was like, okay. So when I watched this, it was very evident in this film to me because like you said, like when the acceleration happens, what is the acceleration? To like protests and signs, right? He never questioned state power in the movie, right? This isn't State and Revolution, right? This is not that. He's not questioning the taking of state power. There really is no question of the state within it. If anything, it could be interpreted with the film that he has problems with states in general, in particular his how he looks at China. As a kind of like China ends up looking like a kind of perverted exploited workers state, right? It's a really like, and it's funny. I threw
I didn't even think about that.
I threw that to a couple of people I know on the Marxist left who've seen it and were like, yeah, I have that same perception, right? Because if you look at the film, there is no Chinese state established, right? There is like these like characters who seem to work with Demi Moore's character, right? So by eliminating the state, it becomes what we kind of have been thinking about China from like the 90s, right? That it was like the place where all the exploitation happened. It's America's kind of, factory that makes all their goods, right? And he definitely likes to think about their workers in a quote unquote positive way. But I put those in quotations, but it's a way that he doesn't see it as a proletariat state, right? He doesn't see it as the growing of a dictatorship of the proletariat within the film, right? And from knowing a little bit about Boots's tendency politically, that kind of adds up if you look at the parties that he was in.
Oh man, I completely missed that point. All I got to was I was frustrated with the limitations put on this worker solidarity, this international solidarity. Like it doesn't really make the point clear enough, and it doesn't. But the film definitely doesn't say anything about China. It doesn't say anything about a communist revolutionary China or anything to explain how that movement has been reduced to being the factory workers of the world in many cases. Like that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and it's part of like the political tendency that he was originally in. I don't know where Boots's tendencies lay this way, which I always find a little bit weird because like he speaks a lot about communism, but the way he speaks about it, I find to be in kind of broad strokes, which I think also explains like his like rapid exposition of shit like dialectical materialism. And and then in the film, and I would need someone to check this for me. How many times is the word communism and socialism actually used? Because I don't remember. I know I'm sure it is.
I don't think at all. Actually, I don't think at all.
See, this is the thing. I'm trying to be generous.
Are we wrong about that? Wait a minute.
I need someone to check me. Someone check me. But I don't remember. I want to think that I forgot.
How does Jared Ware find all those scripts all the time? How does he always have the script?
You can find them probably out there. I'm sure it's probably out there if it's not out there soon. I mean, Boots likes the merchandise. He'll be selling it soon. You know what I'm saying? He likes the extra merchandise. He's gonna do the Spike Lee thing, and have the like I Love Boosters scripts with like notes about the making of it, so forth and so on, that all come from his perspective. Yeah, and then like when it comes to the filmmaking, what I kind of said to someone, I was like, I kind of go back to Eisenstein, where like Eisenstein talked a lot about how you deliver a kind of cinematic invitation to kind of elicit emotions within people. And Boots is kind of, to me, caught up in content creation. I think he has a kind of, honestly, a very vulgar and low opinion of his audiences, to be honest with you, because he feels like he has to like flash them, excite them, give them all of this like extra kind of like pizzazz, rather than just give them something that is relatable, understandable, crafted in a way that shows a progression or a degression of society and shows like what will it take to make revolution or so forth and so on. Instead, he has to do all of these like hyper like metaphors that don't really add up. I argue that his dialectical materialism shit is more Hegelian than it actually is Marxist, because it's all idealist conceptions of metaphysical kind of makings, which is totally Marxist criticism of Hegel. So I'm like, this is some Hegelian shit, which is like really weird, right? And like the kind of synthesis antithesis thing is like a kind of vulgarity of it. It's like I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but like there's a lot more to it than that, right? But he has to he wants to use it to kind of make flash, right? Because he thinks that audiences need flash and pizzazz. And to me, that's a very degraded way of looking at audiences, to me. Like he needs to give them sex and demons and accelerators and then superheroes and then shootouts at the end. And like that to me is just like, you don't have a high opinion of the people who are watching your films. You don't think that they could actually sit there and digest a simple story about a group of young women who were criminals, quote unquote, right, within the eyes of society, and that they could come to a realization that their position through capital within civil society, right, has put them in this position, and exactly they're the exploited people, and they need to expropriate the expropriators, right? He can't do a simple story about that shit. You don't need all this other shit, right? And then someone from China happens to be there, they work together and they create something and they do it. But then the ending, I was like, if you're going to accelerate the contradictions, I'm sorry, the accelerating of the contradictions to me is not going to be protest signs. It's going to be taking state power. Right?
That part did stand out to me. I was like, that's it?
That's it.
And then to the point of one of the articles, like Keke Palmer, all she does is get another job, basically, or whatever. She moves up in the fashion industry or some shit. I was like, what?
Right. And my thing with that thing is like, okay, if he wanted to maybe state, well, two things. If he wanted to maybe state that this is a stage and everything, right, then make that clear, saying like, all right, there's a higher stage of the revolution. We're not there yet, but we're going to figure it out. So it's like, and you as the audience, you need to go figure out the highest stage. I can actually sit with that. Like there's theories around it that's effective. It's like a very like Brecht would do things like that, right? Because you have to make the revolution. I can't be visually determinist. But no, he makes it like they don't accomplish the shit. Everybody's striking around the world, right? And also the capitalist is still alive. I'm just like, wait a minute. So when they did the accelerator gun,
and
I was waiting for Demi Moore to get hit with it and like just like either like vanish, be in some kind of like, I don't know, socialist prison system, re-education, I don't know what. But she's just now just doing negotiation deals with her workers. So I was like, oh, this is just trade unionism. It's just trade unionist politics. It's not it's not interested in revolution. And then this to me makes sense why it would get $20 million. Why the Ellisons would be interested in doing this, because I'm not saying that strikes are things that they want or that they want to kind of, they definitely don't want to like negotiate better deals. But like if it's between that, this is Lenin's argument, if it's between that and literally the workers organizing to basically like seize the means of production and take state power and throw out the capitalists and expropriate the expropriators. Come on, they're gonna choose the other shit. Like this is what's gonna happen.
But I'm thinking from the perspective of the ruling elite, even a cinematically depicted strike that again pops up out of nowhere I'd be fine with that, because you're thinking, if this is the culmination, if this is the extent, what is the threat? Because in real life, as Josh Lorg, we've already pointed out, people have already gotten to that stage in some cases, and it's being sort of dissipated and mitigated and suppressed. So it's not like people are going to watch this film and be with clarity moved in that direction, because if anything, they're going to think somewhere else out of nowhere this will pop up. I don't even have to do anything.
Right. And to add to your point, this is also to me the pernicious thing of like using the kind of whole superheroes and we need these essential singular heroes kinds of like characterizations, right? Because he's still in talking about a people's movement, the fact that he needs to focus on special individuals is also a trap, right? I'm not saying that you don't have charismatic individuals, so forth and so on. That's not the calculus that I'm saying here. What I'm saying is like he's still using a very bourgeois story structure of the hero, right, needs to reconcile with themselves and they become the person. Like there's no real study of how this person, like how they came to consciousness is kind of flimsy. Do they really actually come to consciousness?
No, some of the critiques I was going through, and I agree, they don't. It's not that, it's because again, the end result is an elevated position within the fashion industry. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Yeah. But I'll say one other thing is like, and to me, this kind of reflects whether it's conscious or unconscious Boots's, I think, self-reflection. Because he sees himself as like one of these. Like he was a person who was out there as a hustler and he's come to a certain consciousness. So he is going to be the person that's going to somehow through movies galvanize an acceleration of, through movies, an acceleration of the contradictions, right? And through a mass kind of media project that he had, which is why he's like, yeah, everybody has to go see it. Get everyone to see it because it'll accelerate the contradictions. And then suddenly, we'll all be galvanized to get better deals and we can go. And, and it's like, I mean, like, bro, I would need precedent. I would need historical precedent on how it's been like that. And honestly, like let's just keep it real. Like none of these revolutions have been successful without the taking of state power. And the fact that the state is not questioned in the film at all shows you, right? Because that's what they fear. Like they don't fear, like you said, they don't fear that part. It more annoys them, the economism thing. It annoys them and gets on their fucking nerves, right? But they fear, like, what if they actually took state power?
But look, I was looking again, and you got to help me find this thing where you broke down, and one of your Patreon Within Our Gates podcast, you broke down, and I thought I had the note somewhere. I cannot find it. You broke down these steps you think need to be taken in developing a third cinema.
Yeah.
And I went back and I was listening to another one of your discussions with Sudeep, and it wasn't in that one either. So there's two of them I've listened to with Sudeep that I thought had it, but it's not in there. But where you did what you all were talking about at one point, you oh damn, I just lost my thought. What were you just now saying? Oh my god.
Taking a state power. I think I was saying someone in the chat can remember.
Yeah,
Now I
state
don't remember.
power. But you all said, and I just listened to it this morning. You said
third cinema, making a third cinema. You were saying the steps that are needed.
It'll come back. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just lost.
Yeah.
Damn, I hate when that happened. But
Yeah,
it was
same.
anyway. It was. Damn it.
I was talking about Boots. I was talking about this also being Boots reflecting what he thinks is going to accelerate the contradictions and make revolution happen by him. Like this is the movie. This movie can do it.
Yeah.
His kind of faith in like the large mass media apparatus. It's like a really weird, I think.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with that. I can't think
vulgarized
what else
understanding
said,
of like agitation. Like he thinks he like, and this is the thing that like I think there's always been like a quibble that I've had with people who really believe in the mass media space as like an agitational platform. And I'm not saying that it can't be, but like, look, the thing that we always have to remember is if you accelerated the contradictions of agitation on mass media, they're gonna cut that shit off. Let's just be real. Right? Like, come on, man. Like that now you're not being a materialist, right? You're not actually looking at the material reality of how mass media works, right? And all those types of things. Literally, they do have a switch.
That's what it was. You were talking about because it reminded me. I've talked a lot about that character Nick Hanauer, and you were the billionaire who a couple of years ago was making the rounds in media, basically. And you all were. This is the point you were talking about, that from the point of the ruling elite, they're looking for safety valve releases. How do we stop them from picking up the pitchforks? So if we can, if we can allow them to sort of unconsciously blow off some steam while watching something that's not ultimately threatening in its messaging, that's perfect. So yeah, so everything from the lack of state focus to the trade unionism to the poor explanation of dialectics to the out of nowhere emergence of a strike that doesn't lead to real shifts in power. They're like, this is perfect, because people will, if they see the film at all, which is itself a struggle. If they see it at all, they will do what a lot are being encouraged to do. They will project onto it that it's done some magically wonderful thing, and at no point will they be moved into something that threatens we in the ruling elite. And then, by the way, we have 10 million other media products to saturate them with, even if they do get moved by the film.
And you know what to add, and it's gotta be like my last point. I'm gonna have to run,
sure,
but like,
sure.
But like this to add to that, because now Keke Palmer, Demi Moore, Lakeith Stanfield are now associated as some kind of champions of working class revolution, right? So because of that, you're able to get a vulgarized, diminished version of revolutionary politics. And then the fact that they get associated with it, people who don't have the consciousness that is necessary to make revolution, they're going to be looking towards Keke Palmer and Demi Moore and so forth and so on as, as people who they could trust, right? Because you got Keke Palmer up here talking about, she made some statement about like, I believe in this and that, and like I'm working class and da-da-da. She's saying all these types of stuff. And it's like, oh man, like the politics are like all over. Right. And now you get them as associating that it just vulgarizes the argument even more. And it actually does more. It does more to destroy what could be possible than it does anything to promote. Right. What could be possible. And it's in that way, it's you can maybe call it counterinsurgent, whatever you want to call it. It is that kind of project. And the last thing I'll say to this point, this is where like I still would have problems with it. But if Boots was doing this and he was creating some kind of infrastructure for real radical films to be made, I would still have problems with this movie. But if he was saying, all right, this is necessary for me to do this, but I'm going to build this infrastructure where the real radical shit could happen, people could kind of go off script and make something happen, I'd be willing to be in more conversation with him. But he's not doing that. There is no evidence that I've seen, and if Boots does watch this or anything like that, but also don't think he probably cares, because he also has take a lot of shots at leftist cinema. He has deliberately done this online, on people's podcasts. He says, I don't make movies for communists, which is like, it's like, Third Cinema didn't do it either, bro. They were trying to raise national consciousness of people who weren't communists and into national liberation. That's a total like vulgarization that everyone who made leftist films only made them for leftists. That's actually some shit that bourgeois people say, and it's really fucked up. Actually, I think as like a statement, but. Yeah, like if he was doing something like some side project, I'd be willing to kind of be a bit more. But he's kind of going on like, I'm the single man and you got to support me. I'm the dude. I'm the communist revolution in movies, and I'm like, first of all, your model is not, it can't be replicated, right? It can't be replicated. If we could make like Bruce Riley's all through this stuff and all do this, okay, maybe, but we can't do that, right? That's not possible. But also what you're making. Right, and you're not funneling that back down to the people. But this is like a longer conversation,
and we'll have more of them. And I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. And to the person that made that comment, I did not break down those 3 steps to Third Cinema. Mtume has done that, and we just got to make time.
I think I know.
Find
it's the
that
episode.
piece.
It's the questions episode. I think that I did when I took some questions. I think it's the second one. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Well, we need to. Yeah, we need to get that out here. Like I need to have it in front of me so we can. Yeah, but anyway, now, man, thank you very much.
Yes.
And look forward to more, man. Appreciate.
I'm gonna watch the rest of this later, and then we should talk some more. I probably have some other thoughts that I'm gonna be mad that I forgot that I wrote.
Oh, absolutely. Down. There's gonna be more. This ain't it. All right, my man. Thank you very much.
Peace,
everybody. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.